On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea?
I have become a lot more self-conscious about when I go out as like a woman as well. Like I think the way you dress, like
And I kind of discovered kind of like the dark side of this entertainment industry, like how like harsh it is. And
Because Colombian people is like, hey, can I help you? Let's go. I will show you. I will walk you till your bus.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I asked people, what would you rate living in Korea as a foreigner? Hello.
Hello.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Chloe. I'm from France and I'm 18 years old.
And how long have you been in Korea?
I've been in Korea since January now.
So what do you do in Korea?
Right now I'm I'm gonna teach children English.
But you haven't started yet?
No, not yet. Before I was working as a dishwasher.
There are a lot of countries other than Korea. Then like what brought you to Korea? Why did you choose to come to Korea?
Why not? I mean, of course, K-pop and everything has a lot of impact in the world, so it's one of the factors that made me come here. But after discovering K-pop, I discovered like country in himself and in itself, and like the landscapes and everything like this.
So today's topic is living in Korea as a foreigner.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea?
Well, it's kind of hard because it depends on what you're based on. But overall, I will put an 8, 7 or 8.
Why did you give it like 7 or 8?
The first point I'm thinking of is the safety here. Like back in France, I cannot like really go outside by myself as a woman at night or stuff like this because I'm too scared to like meet mean people but here in Korea I can go out at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., midnight just to go to the convenience store and nothing happens, so it's pretty good. But also I think here there is too much like pressure like on the people living here, like the beauty standards, how they look, how they feel, how everything.
Do you think like the Korean beauty standard actually like affects you?
For the makeup part, no, because I don't wear makeup at all, except mascara sometimes. But the way I dress, yes, like when I was in France, I was not dressing like this at all. And the way I behaving in the street, in the subway or stuff like this, I'm like... But in France, I'm more comfortable and more like myself, I can say. But here it's not like they're not suppressing yourself. Like you can be yourself, but in another way. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's how I feel.
Where are you from and how long have you been in Korea?
I'm from the UK, London, and I've been in Korea for 4 years, on and off. But first time I came here like 8 or 9 years ago. Yep.
Then what do you do in Korea?
Just working on an art project, preparing pictures for an exhibition in the US. Yep.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea as a foreigner?
I would say 7.
7. That's pretty high. Could you explain why did you give it 7?
Yeah, to be honest, during my experience, I had pros and cons, so pretty much good and bad experiences. I would say I really love the atmosphere in Korea, and it's really nice to live here. But the worst thing, it's a little bit difficult to integrate yourself into the society as a foreigner. I mean, you can have friends, Korean friends, but these days, after the pandemic, it has changed a little bit, which disappointed me, but it happens.
How has been changed before and after COVID?
Well, I would say before the COVID, people were just more extroverted compared to after 2021. What I can see, people are more introverted. So I would say Koreans really hang with Koreans only. Maybe it's just my problem, but in my case, I get a lot of friends, but at the same time, I get a lot of blogs. I don't know. I don't feel too pushy myself. I'm just focusing on like collaborations and friendships, but it doesn't really work out these days.
You said like Koreans become introverted.
Yeah.
And do you think it's only towards foreigners or even towards everyone?
It's a good question. Mostly towards the foreigners. I think they pretty much happy with themselves, but it's also because the cultural movement like went global, right? Korean people really enjoy this new success and new lifestyle with like global success, so they have their own confidence to do their own thing, so they don't really need any foreigner help anymore because they can do the best by themselves.
It's hard to rate, but I would give it, like in general, I think 7 out of 10. Just for example, as like when I was staying here as a tourist, I've been a little bit like working in like this entertainment industry, which like I had the chance to be like as a like a background person in like K-dramas or movies, or sometimes maybe even like TV shows. And I kind of discovered like kind of like the dark side of this entertainment industry, like how like harsh it is, and so many people are coming here to Korea to try this entertainment industry, and there's like so many people already like applying for this visa. That's why it's like also kind of difficult to get the visa. Sometimes they're like taking advantage of it in a way that like there are so many people, they can just reduce the salary because they know that somebody else is gonna take it. So the salaries in this field drastically reduced over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years. When I was also talking with some other actual actors, I could hear this kind of story. So in this way, this might have been like a minus, but it's just like in this industry.
More and more foreigners are moving to Korea, so there must be more supplies in the entertainment industry than like demand. So
Even like this K-pop and K-dramas, like globally getting more and more known, and the people are really drawn towards it. Many times I can hear stories that are coming here not only because of it, but it's like the initial interest, and they just get to like this country in this way, and like this is how the entertainers, the number of them kind of raised because of it, and also kind of like ruining the industry in a way as well, because once you like pay less, especially those that are like talented, they also get damaged because basically their work also kind of is getting, I think, reduced maybe, yeah.
could you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Abby. I'm from the UK.
Hi, I'm Millie. I'm also from the UK.
How long have you been in Korea?
I moved here in May, so very recently, but I came here for a week's holiday in February, and I really liked it here. So
So it's been like 3 months?
3 months, yeah, very
okay.
short time. So
I've been living in Korea since 2021, but I've been living in Seoul since March of this year.
And before Seoul, where were you?
I was living in the south. I was living in a city called Suncheon, which is near Busan.
Is it kind of like countryside?
Very much countryside. Very few foreigners. It was a great experience, but just very drastically different to being in Seoul. Yeah.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea as a foreigner?
I'm very new, so I think I've still got a bit of rose-colored glass view of things. So I would say I'm a 10, honestly, at the moment. I really enjoy my time here. I think, like, compared to the UK, the transportation's really good. I found there's more things to do, like going to cafes, busking, which is great as well. So for me, that's really enjoyable.
What about you?
For me, I think 8.
8.
Yeah, I think because I've got countryside and the city perspective, so I've seen how my life was in the countryside, and that was a lot more stressful than being in the city. So it kind of lowers my score a bit. But I really like busking and cafes. Being from England, like a lot of things close really early.
Yeah.
Whereas here in Korea, I could still go to a cafe or something at 10 p.m. Minus is because if I'm thinking about when I lived in the countryside, I had some issues medically. It was very hard to try and communicate to doctors or just to get into hospitals, because a lot of them, they'd see a foreigner coming in and think, I don't know any English, I can't talk to you. So they would turn me away.
I think the only thing that I would say is more of a minus is I have become a lot more self-conscious about when I go out as like a woman as well. Like, I think the way you dress, like, this is very out there for me today. Like, I don't feel fully comfortable. So I think that is something to bear in mind, because I think visually people they put a lot of importance on it. So
Then what about like living costs, like renting fee or like groceries? Like, do you think it's expensive or it's better than the UK?
we're lucky our Hagwon pays for our accommodation, but then as a teacher your pay can be on the lower end. I'm first time anyway, but the only thing that shocks me living cost wise is groceries are expensive here. Fruit especially, I love fruit, and 5,000 won, sometimes for just some bananas, and then 8,000 for grapes. That's sad. I wish it wasn't, but.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, myself Ashutosh Kumar Pandey. I'm a PhD scholar in Yonsei University. I belongs to India, Varanasi. I've been here from last 2.5 years. So
How has been your experience in Korea so far?
till now it's pretty good. Little bit hectic schedule because of coursework and little research pressure. It's same as other PhD scholars and nothing different. But in terms of related to like enjoyment and other things, yeah, it was really good.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea as a foreigner?
As a foreigner, I will grade 9.5 out of 10. Just only 0.5 I reduced because of the food.
Food.
Yeah, it's my personal choice. Like I'm a vegetarian, so that's why I consider for vegetarian people, it's little difficult, not too much. But if you are well familiar with the cookings, and you it's fine. But in terms of safety, security, and like expenses and earning, it's pretty good country. Like as a PhD scholar, I don't face any difficulty in overnight walking. Like sometime I go to my home around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. But everything is fine, no problem. And even I saw many women and girls, they very freely they move and very safe for, especially for women, it's very safe country. So
Even at night, right?
yeah, even at night. Yeah.
When it comes to like PhD course, I heard like a lot of people say it's kind of tough or too much time they are in lab for research. So what do you think about this? Like, are you okay with that?
It's difficult because in my country we say like if you are doing PhD, that means you are partially married. Right? Like now your every decision is controlled by your professor. So what professor want in your manuscript, he want that only. So for that, to make him happy, you need to work hard, right?
Where are you from and how long have you been in Korea?
저는 콜롬비아 사람입니다. That means I'm from Colombia and I have been here since April, so 3 months now.
So what do you do in Korea?
I'm part of the international cooperation project that exchange public officers. I'm a public officer in Medellin, that is my town. And since Medellin and Chuncheon City has an agreement, I'm working for 6 months here in Chuncheon City Hall.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate living in Korea as a foreigner?
There's many good things, and also the cultural crash for me has been really difficult. So I will say a 6.
Why did you give it 6? Could you tell me about like good things first?
The good things is security. I, as a woman, I can walk without feeling harassment, completely free with my bag, for example. And that's something really valuable because sometimes in Latin America, in Medellin, punctually, you are always in alert to not be robbed or not be like catch. It's like release to go out in this situation of Korea, and that's a really good point. The other point is that in other countries it's not normal to have water disposal everywhere, and here is everywhere. I mean, I can go to a restaurant and serve to myself water if I need it. I was in a museum today and there had also a place to have water for free, and for me it's like, wow, Korean people should like appreciate that.
Then what about the negative sides? Like what's the minus of living in Korea as a foreigner?
We're not many South American people in Korea. Since that, we don't have people to talk Spanish with. And sometimes you use the English if you have that. But many Koreans don't use English. I don't know Seoul, but in Chuncheon, that is a smaller city and that has a lot of elderly people. They don't want to talk to you in English, and sometimes they prefer to ignore you, and that feels not good. They prefer to go out of the elevator, or they prefer to like turn around, and it's like, hey, I'm just asking for help, for example, like when you show them the translator. It might be because, of course, I'm in a smaller city, but that's really hard because Colombian people is like, hey, can I help you? Let's go, I will show you, I will walk you till your bus. So,
But not in Chuncheon.
not in Chuncheon.
And what about like working culture? Like compared to like working culture in Colombia, like what's the biggest difference and what's the good and bad things?
especially the office I'm working with is the International Affairs office. They have too much work for just 3 employees. They always have to do everything from the strategic decision and planning as a professional and clip the papers and like go and pick up the presents for the reunion, so for the meeting. It's really stressful for my coworkers. I have seen them really like crashing down. Sometimes I go to the office and they are like staying in since the last day. I'm like, oh my god, that don't happen in Colombia. It's really difficult to try to say people like, hey, take it easy, it's your job, it's not your life.